Okay, so I went to the auto parts store because I was low on windshield wiper fluid, and I bought 2 gallons of the regular blue windshield wiper fluid. How much do you think it cost? It was over $12 for windshield wiper fluid, for 2 gallons of windshield wiper fluid. I said to myself, wait, time out. How can it possibly cost more than fuel at a gas station? I mean, you're talking $6 a bottle for a little bit of blue soap and some blue dye. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, it's ridiculous. So I said to myself, okay, what does it take to actually make windshield wiper fluid? What's actually inside windshield wiper fluid? Can you make it on your own? So I scoured the internet, I reviewed a whole bunch of videos. I mean, everybody, there's thousands of videos out there telling you how to make windshield wiper fluid. From using like your everyday dishwashing soap and adding some blue dye, and just like a whole bunch of different videos showing you like how you can make your own windshield wiper fluid. From a weather channel telling you, the news telling you, a whole bunch of YouTubers telling you. So I'm gonna actually go through this with you and say, okay, I'm gonna ask 3 questions. Number 1, can you make windshield wiper fluid the way that it's made from the store? Number 2, can you make windshield wiper fluid that can handle negative 20 degrees, right? So you don't have to worry that it's in your car during the winter conditions and it's gonna freeze or break your lines or your tank for that matter. And then you have a whole different issue on your hands. And number 3, is it worth it? After all that, is it worth getting all the ingredients, spending the money on all of the ingredients and taking the time to do it? So is it economical? So you have to ask yourself those 3 questions. So let's go through it and kind of discuss it. There's 3 main ingredients. Distilled water, right? Number 1. Number 2, it's got a blue dye in it. And number 3, it's got methanol, right? So all those 3 ingredients you can pick up. Now, methanol is very, very expensive, especially if you're not buying it in bulk. You can get it. So the question is how much methanol are you gonna need for this to handle this freezing temperatures? So question number 1, can you make it? Yes, you can make it. You could pick up distilled water, you could pick up dye, you could pick up methanol, you could pick up alcohol because it's a little bit less expensive than methanol. So number 1 question, can you make it? Yes, you can make it. Number 2, can you make it so it can handle negative 20 degree weather? You can do it. You could use methanol, right? Which is probably the most effective way to handle those freezing temperatures. And there's a chart, it'll show you all the different amounts of methanol you're gonna need to actually get to the point where it can handle negative 20 degrees, it can handle negative 30 degrees, or whatever temperature range you need it to handle depending on where you live, right? Because that's important. You gotta know where you live, you gotta know your environment, you gotta know what you're gonna deal with in the winter weather conditions. And number 3, is it economical? Well, you can buy distilled water, right? It's like $1.24 at Walmart. You could buy distilled water. Or if you have a water softener in your house that's filtered and all that kind of stuff, you could just basically use that. It's demineralized water. So demineralized water, you could pick up for $1.24 or whatever it is at Walmart, or you could just use your tap at home as long as it's demineralized. So that's the least expensive way to handle the water part of it. The dye, well, and the soap, for that matter, you could pick up Qwik's biodegradable windshield wiper fluid super concentrate. Now this you could pick up on Amazon, and it makes 32 gallons. So every 1/4 ounce of this in a gallon of demineralized water will give you the blue dye, and it'll give you the soap that you need. So, and on the back of this, it tells you exactly how many ounces of methanol is required, right, for the different weather conditions, the winter weather conditions, from basically 32 degrees Fahrenheit all the way down to negative 25 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? So if I wanted to match this, which is what you buy at an auto parts store, which is typically negative 20 degrees in our area, you would need 44 ounces of methanol. 44 ounces of methanol, or even alcohol for that matter, is pretty expensive. So let's go through what that's gonna cost. So I jotted down some notes, and I'll put it down below and also put it on the screen. The Qwik Mix water what windshield wiper fluid concentrate is $23.99 for that bottle. You can make 32 gallons of it, windshield wiper fluid with it, and it's 75 cents a gallon. So if you don't pay for the water and you're just using the concentrate, it's only 75 cents a gallon. So for summer conditions, spring conditions, fall conditions, not winter conditions, definitely worthwhile, right? It's only 75 cents a gallon. Even if you have to pay for distilled water, which is $1.24, I mean, you're talking $2, right? At that point, you have to decide whether or not it's still worth it. I mean, yes, at an auto parts store, that was my first mistake. Don't go to an auto parts store for windshield wiper fluid. You're gonna wanna go somewhere else where it's a lot less expensive. You know, your local food market, you know, your local shops around your house. You could typically get it on sale, like Walmart or somewhere like that. You're gonna get it for $2.99, even less sometimes. I've seen it depending on what time of the season it is. So figure you're gonna spend on average around $2.99, $2.50 a gallon for windshield wiper fluid on the cheaper side. So at $2, if you have to buy the distilled water, then you have to ask yourself, is it really worth it? If you're just buying the soap and you're using your own demineralized water from your water softener, 75 cents in the summer, and you never have to deal with winter weather conditions, I think it's worth it. Now, if you have to add alcohol or methanol to the mix, that's when the price really starts to ramp up. I mean, a bottle of isopropyl alcohol and 91% isopropyl alcohol, 32 ounces, is $3.98. So if I put, you know, an entire bottle, 32 ounces, and you're gonna need, in order to get to -20, 44 ounces, you're at $3.98 a gallon. So methanol is $16.74 a bottle for a 32 ounce bottle. So, I mean, it's over 5 times as much as the 91% isopropyl alcohol. So you can see how this is not going to be financially worth it. You're going to go through the trouble, and if you don't put the alcohol in it and you live in an area where you're going to deal with winter weather conditions, I don't recommend that. If you want to spend the money, it's on you, but it's really not worth it. But if you never have to worry about it, if you're really into southern conditions, you can get away with it. If you want to bump it up a little bit, like take the Qwik Mix washer fluid concentrate and add a little bit more soap to it, I recommend a rinseless wash. You could get a rinseless wash online for like $18.80 for a 32 ounce bottle, and you only need a little bit. You put like, let's say, an ounce of that soap into your mix, and you could put that into your windshield wiper fluid, your homemade stuff, and really kind of like ramp it up. So in the summer conditions, that's 59 cents plus 75 cents. So you're talking $1 something, you know, and you're making a pretty decent mix. But again, you have to ask yourself, is it worth going through the trouble of getting distilled water or taking it from your tap if it's demineralized and adding all that soap, and because your time is worth money, right? So you have to ask yourself, is it really worth that time? I think ultimately, after all of the calculations and figuring this out, I decided, you know what? If I can pick up the windshield wiper fluid at a local Acme or ShopRite or something for $2.99, it's not worth making it yourself. I mean, unless you're in a condition where it's always hot weather conditions, like down really south, like even in Mexico or South America or something, where you're never gonna deal with winter weather conditions, then your distilled water or demineralized water, you know, mix. Now, does it have to have blue dye? That's a question that some people ask. Yes. I mean, in most cars, the blue dye is what tells the car whether or not that tank is full or not, right? It's a way for the computer or the eye that's in the tank to decide, you know what, you need windshield wiper fluid. There's no floats anymore, you know, in some of the newer models. Some of the older model cars, yeah, you're not gonna need the dye. As long as you put water in there, you're fine, right? Because the float will come up to the top and it'll tell the car, you know what, you have windshield wiper fluid. So I hope this was helpful. Let's go through the 3 questions again. Number 1, can you make it? Yes, you can make it. You can buy the ingredients, you can put it together, and you can make your own windshield wiper fluid. Number 2, can you make it so that it can handle winter weather conditions? Yeah, you can, but you're gonna have to spend quite a bit on alcohol or even more for methanol because you're not buying it in bulk. It's not like you're these big companies like Splash and those guys where they're buying it in tanker trucks and then feeding their ingredients into their bottles. So it's going to be quite expensive. And number three, is it financially worth it? Your time, your money, your decision, but for me, not worth it. Go out, find a cheap bottle of windshield wiper fluid, the blue stuff for like $2.50, $2.99, and it's still worth going out and buying it. Don't buy it from the auto parts store. They're gonna rip you off. So I hope this helps. Like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and I'll see you on the next one.